Hello Internet, James Allen from Out of 8, and today I'm playing real-time strategy game Forged Battalion. Game features a pretty disappointing campaign mode. You simply go up against more enemy factions at once. It starts out 1v1 and then eventually you're taking on 3 or 4 enemies at the same time. It's pretty lazy and very tedious to try to dispose of all those enemies, and ultimately very frustrating design. The story isn't very much to engross you into the game either. I think that the focus of the game is on ranked and play online, which you can do, and you can also do unranked games against the AI, which is what I'm going to do here. As you complete any of the game modes, you earn experience points, which can be used to create your faction. Experience points are used to unlock things in the tech tree, which give you additional abilities and weapons that you then can use to create new units. So, for example here, each of the units falls into several categories. You have infantry, light vehicles, heavy vehicles, and aircraft, and also have turrets. So what you can do is create a new unit. You pick a primary weapon and then a support thing, which is basically what type of armor it has. Now each of these weapons and support features are available at different tech levels of the game. So not necessarily true that the higher amounts of experience points to unlock the higher weapons will give you a better unit, because you can't really use that unit until later on in the game. So what I have here is basically my faction as it stands, and then I'm going to use this in a skirmish game. So, the main focus of this game is being able to create your own custom units, which unfortunately, because of lack of things in other areas, really doesn't deliver all the way. This is a nice feature. However, as you'll see when I actually play the game, it doesn't really give as much variety as you think it would. So I'm going to do a skirmish game against the AI. The game does not feature very many skirmish maps. Now you can go on to Steam Workshop and find more maps, but again, it really should be the job of the developer to create more maps. There's no randomly generated maps or procedurally generated maps, and all the maps are just mirrored, which you would think would be fairly easy to generate those things. So, I don't know which map I want to do necessarily. Let's just try this one. Then you have the AI. AI is just okay. It's not much of a challenge until you get multiple numbers of them against you. You can pick your victory conditions. I will do Destroy HQ because that'll make the game end faster. And then we'll start. The game is very streamlined, simplified. So you follow the same basic structure every game. The first thing you do is build a refinery so you can get these resources. There's basically 2 resources. You have cash, which is used for everything, and then power, which is used to power buildings. So every game, the first thing you have to do is a refinery. Then you usually do one of your structures, like I'll do my light vehicle factory, and then do the comm center so I can start to capture locations. Every time you build a refinery, it creates a new builder unit. So let me put my light vehicle factory up. I usually put all my factories in the same area. As you can see, you have to build your buildings within range of existing buildings, which means you can't go directly after these resource locations until you build turrets basically up in that region, which is what I'm going to end up doing. Once I get this, I'll be able to build this one.
Light factory.
So I'm going to build a turret up here, which is probably a good idea anyway in case the enemy comes in. I am low on power.
Constructing.
And then I'm going to place a couple refineries up here and then be able to basically mine everything in my base. You can go out and capture these outposts, which allows you then to basically capture these resources that are over there by placing a refinery over there. So I'm going to start placing power structures. So basically the way you can deal with the limited build areas, you can build like a train of turrets out. You're never going to really access these things, or you're just going to have to wait a long time for your units to travel back from the refineries. Now you can do a turret and a refinery simultaneously, which is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go heavy money rush, really. You can only build one unit or one structure at a time. Units are dependent on the building, so I'm going to start actually building some units here.
Turret complete.
Okay, so that's up. So I can build my other refinery as soon as that one's done. There it goes. Refineries come with one harvester unit, so you can build additional ones at your base, which I will do because 2 resource locations, you know, 2 harvesters. I'm going to start running out of money here in a little bit, like right now. I have to wait for these things to start harvesting. This is usually what happens in the early mid-game here. Right about this point, you start running out of money because you're trying to build too much stuff at once. I'm actually going to cancel one of these light vehicles because I don't really need them yet.
Refinery complete.
Okay, so I got double refineries there, and then this harvester will go that way, and then I will create another harvester to go over here. And then, once I get enough money, I can start doing my comm center so I can actually capture locations. I also need to get a barracks up first, which is 150 power, and this is 250, so that would be too much. So I actually need a power plant first. So we'll do another power plant. Once you get beyond the initial resource hump, then it becomes pretty easy to start raking in the money. You can see my money is going up fairly fast right now anyway. And hopefully I don't get rushed early on. Alright, so what do I want to do? I want to do this thing.
Constructing.
So we will do the comm center, which will allow me to cap stuff. Now, the only units that can cap things are infantry, so I will actually have to build my barracks here in a second, which will be the next thing here. So, I mean, I probably should have done barracks first, but you can see there's a very limited number of structures. I'm going to build the barracks, heavy vehicle factory, and aircraft factory, and then you get your little area of effect endgame weapon, and then your turrets over here, and then you get 4 units of each type. You're limited to. I do like the keyboard shortcuts here, where they tie it to the the top 2 rows of the keyboard, so it makes it easy to tap out units. I also like it, and I'm doing very good on money.
Now available.
Okay, so now let's do that.
Constructing.
If you build additional factories, it just simply produces units faster, which is pretty interesting. So now I'm rolling in dough. I can actually probably do this thing.
Barracks complete.
As soon as I get, I have to get a couple of things here. Alright, so let's do heavy vehicle.
Constructing.
We need to start getting some infantry units. Now these units don't happen until I get level 3 tech, which means I have to upgrade. But that's alright. I'm rolling in dough now. So you can either click or you can just use the, RTFG. I usually just queue up one at a time there. You only pay for the stuff when it's built, so use the keys there. And then I'm going to build an aircraft factory.
Constructing.
And do the same thing here. So I like to control select these things. So control 0. All you guys go there. See, I haven't even been harassed at all by the enemies. I have tons of money now. But I am going to go out and start capping some of these other areas. You also see units kind of just walk around and slam into each other and push into them too, which is a little disappointing.
Air factory complete.
Okay, let me build my rocket bombardment already.
Constructing.
Alright, so I'm going to take these units and we're going to go cap some of these locations here. Make sure I'm still building them. And they're all just cranking away. I do have extra money, so I can go in. After this thing's done, I'll probably end up building another light vehicle and heavy vehicle factory. Probably do a heavy vehicle factory first. Now I need to watch my power. I'll probably need to do another power plant first. So, of course, the vehicles get there first. This doesn't really help me because I need infantry to cap it. Yeah, there's your power. Let's build another power plant.
No power.
Now, eventually, these resource locations will deplete, as you can see here. So you actually are forced to eventually expand out. I'm going to send these guys to this one. Right, there's that. So now I'm going to do another heavy factory.
Constructing.
Because that's actually... Oh, there's everybody. Hey, guys. Alright, come back. Okay, let's build some infantry turrets here.
Constructing. Outpost captured.
You can see that the units will automatically engage the enemy, which is nice.
Turret complete.
Alright, come on back. Let's let the turret
Constructing.
take care of him a little bit. Alright, so I did cap this. So now we can build a refinery here.
Turret under attack.
And these units I'm
Constructing.
actually just going to move here.
Turret complete.
So that was basically all their units, I believe. So, yeah, we're going to go over here. Yeah, that was basically their entire army. Alright, so let me... And now I got these units, the level 3 units. Now my cash is a little bit low. Well, they did actually capture something, so good for them, I guess. Let me go cap this one.
Move out.
So there's my refinery. I should probably send another harvester over there. Now I've hit money wall number 2 because I'm building a lot of units at once. And well, mostly because I'm starting to deplete this. So I'm actually going to send this guy over there. Because there's no point of having more than one thing on the same resource location at a time.
Awaiting orders. Is it time? Commander?
Just move those guys in there. And once I cap these, then I can do refinery here, refinery over there. And then that probably will be enough resources, to be honest about it. Anytime. Capturing sometimes kind of
Outpost
slow.
captured.
Here we go. Refinery, please.
Constructing.
You guys go here. Let me send all my units here.
Yes, control.
We'll just kind of rally here, and then we'll go after that outpost. I got that outpost. You guys just kind of relax.
Super weapon ready.
Well, once I find their base, I will use it.
Refinery complete.
Okay, so we'll do the other refinery there.
Constructing.
Alright, let's start doing some more units. I do like the keys. And I appreciate that you're limited to only 4 per class. It makes it so the hotkeys work, obviously, but also kind of limits the ability of people who have just played the game a lot from just throwing so many units at you that you can't, advanced units that you can't counteract them. Alright, we're going to attack move over
Refinery
here.
complete.
Actually, it's yeah. So we're going to take this stuff out pretty easily, I would say. Yeah, these guys, I'm just going to leave them. I don't really need them. So, they're cranking away. They're cranking away. You guys need to cap this.
Maneuvering. Drone ready. Drone target confirmed.
The annoying thing is the vehicles always get there first, and you really just want the units to cap that thing.
Awaiting
So you guys just move.
forward.
No, you guys need to cap. Go cap. So lots of units, lots of explosions. And not that I really need a turret over here, but... And you can see that each of the different units are effective against different types of enemies. So you can build a pretty balanced squad that goes against, you know, different threats that you might encounter. Alright. Go attack these guys. I actually probably just have enough stuff where I can just go attack them now. You know, especially with my super weapon. Alright, everybody just go there. And I just have my infantry over here to cap this. Not that I don't even really need it. Like I said, I have tons of units, it's not an issue. We'll cap this pretty quickly and then build another refinery.
Captured.
There we go. Refinery.
Construct.
Alright. Let's go attack them. We're just gonna attack move right to where I know where their base is, it's right there. Hello. Alright, so let me use my super weapon. I'll launch it right there. If you knock out their power, then their turrets and stuff stop working. So I try to target the buildings first. That was actually pretty ineffective. Super weapon, that's alright. Once I knock out their buildings, then their turrets will go down. So yeah, it's, you know, big mess of units. There's no formations or anything like that. It's just a bunch of stuff blowing up. And actually, I have almost one anyway because they're my units are, there we go, that's it, are attacking their HQ. So that's it. Like I said, the AI is like not even, unless you're going against 4 at a time, and they basically just take their resource dominance at you. And then you gain research points by playing them out. You can see I just, you know, created way more units because I had a lot more resources and stuff like that. So that's Forged Battalion. You know, its idea is a good idea, where you can create custom units, but in practice it adds up to a pretty disappointing real-time strategy game. The campaign is not great. It just throws more enemy factions at you at once. The story is not very interesting. The skirmish mode only has 15 maps. You can get more from the workshop, but again, there should be more content on here. I'm a big fan of randomly generated maps. It gives a lot of replay value. And since the maps on here are symmetric anyway, you would think that would be fairly easy to do. They may not be the same quality, you know, as the maps, but you know, that gives you a lot more replay value there instead of the handful of maps that you have on here. The custom unit design, you know, in the end, you're really just upgrading the same chassis. You just have infantry, light vehicles, heavy vehicles, and aircraft. So there's really only 4 different unit types. You're just slapping different weapons and different armors on them, and then just pumping them out and throwing them into battle. And you can see the battles are so crazy that you're not really, you know, using the weapons to their best, you know, counteractiveness. You know, you're not taking the ones that are good against aircraft and targeting them against aircraft. You're just throwing everybody in there and making sure you have a balanced force that can basically go against any threat. The build order is very repetitive. You do the same exact build order every game, where you start out with a refinery, and then a light vehicle or barracks, and then the radar thing so you can capture outposts, and then build all the other unit-producing buildings, build a couple power plants, build some turrets, and then go from there. There's a very small number of buildings to go after, so there's not really much variety there. You know, the real variety comes from the custom unit design, which is underwhelming at best. The AI is not much of a challenge unless they put multiple of them against you at the same time, and the mechanics are just oversimplified because it doesn't have very much depth. You know, you're just pumping out units. Whoever captures the most resource locations is going to win. I get the idea of being able to only build a certain distance from your base, but what that does is it makes it really easy to figure out where the enemy is, because you know they're going to be near their base or near an outpost. Or if you find a big train of buildings leading out to some other resource locations, you can figure out where that is too. So in the end, you know, the game is out of early access now, obviously, but The total package is very underwhelming, and it is not a game that I would recommend. That's all I have for today. Till next time, bye now.